Hi, everyone. This is Sam Silverman, Managing Partner of EB5AN. Thank you for taking time to join us on today's webinar. Today, we're going to be discussing our Twin Lakes, Georgia Rural EB5 Loan Project, and we're going to be discussing that project with Daria from Germany, one of our EB5 investors who joined that project and has received her family's I-526C approval. So Daria, thank you for taking a couple minutes today to share a little bit about your experience with EB5. Maybe to start, could you share a little bit about your background and kind of what led you to pursue an EB5 investment for your family?
Yeah. Thanks, Sam, for having me. Yes, as you said, my name is Daria. I'm a German citizen, and I reside in Germany with most of my family. I'm a lawyer by profession, and the main reason why we decided on an EB5 investment was really for the primary goal was, and primary reason was for the sake of our children. Our oldest child is college student in the US. At the moment, she started in 2022, so we've actually been to the States fairly often since, and yeah, we decided it would be a great opportunity to reside there permanently, really.
Got it. Okay, perfect. As you were exploring, potential options to spend more time or relocate permanently to the U.S., were there other visas and options that you considered, or how did EB5 and the green card kind of fit into what was otherwise available?
I mean, the only other option we looked at was EB2, but it first of all, I think it's heavily oversubscribed. So basically, the timing and also the uncertainty around the EB2 really put us off, and so we decided on EB5 as the most reliable and ultimately also the fastest option for myself and my family. And obviously, the benefit is, one of the main benefits of the EB5 program for us was that it would cover my entire family. We have 3 children, all under the age of 21. I'm married, and so they're all covered by my application.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so EB2 wasn't kind of a clear, reliable route, that would provide a long-term permanent solution for everyone. So once you really decided to pursue EB5, as an attorney yourself, can you tell us a little bit about what your experience was like looking for a qualified EB5 immigration attorney? How many attorneys did you talk to? Who did you end up hiring, and why? And what was kind of important to you as you were interviewing potential people to help you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think we interviewed about a handful of attorneys from smaller law firms to bigger law firms, and I think ultimately it's a really personal decision, and maybe different factors were more important for me, being a lawyer myself. But in the end, we hired Anahita and her team from Georgia Marcello, and they were actually the lawyers you had recommended to me during our first meeting. And I mean, it's been an absolutely amazing experience for me, because working with them was really all I could have asked for, and even better, because my approval came really quickly. And what I liked about Anahita and her team was they are pretty straightforward, down to earth approach, very pragmatic, and that really appealed to me. Obviously, she has an amazing track record. I think, she's been in the business for over a decade, and 100% approval rate, and she was just very, she is rather super experienced, and still also very understanding, because I think she's just worked with so many clients from different backgrounds. So she basically yeah, not only could I tell that they knew what they were doing, I also felt I felt comfortable basically working with them. So for me, it was also appealing working with a boutique firm. I know different people have different preferences, priorities, but I ultimately wanted, I thought for me working with a small firm was better, because I was more confident that they would dedicate the time to me, and this is really also, that was definitely also a big factor for me.
Got it. Okay, perfect. Can you tell us a little bit about what the experience was like once you hired Anita? How long did it take to get all the documents organized and assembled, translated, and what was that process like interacting with her team, given, you're on the other side of the world?
Yeah, it was a very streamlined process. Everything is done via Dropbox, and even though obviously there's a time difference of 6 hours, I couldn't tell really, because it felt, they were super responsive, available. It almost felt 24 hours a day. But so basically the time difference didn't, I couldn't notice it. And they were super, as I said, super responsive, and they really knew exactly what was needed and what I needed to get done. They understood what I was getting at, and what kind of, obviously the most important thing, I guess, is the source of funds, trying to document that properly. And that was very easily transported when I talked to them. And also, it was very easy basically to document, because they understood what I was doing and where I was coming from. For us, I think it actually didn't take too long. I think it was 3.5 weeks. It was pretty quick, I guess. But I actually think that the thing that took longest was getting all the translations done, I guess, because we had to get translations of all the tax documents for the last 5 years, and our partnership documents. So I think getting your translations done took some time, but all in all, it was only, I think, 3.5 weeks.
Got it. Okay, perfect. So, having gone through that whole application process and gotten approval, what kind of general advice would you have for, other investors, in Europe, let's say, who are considering EB5 in terms of picking an attorney to help them?
Yeah, obviously you have to follow I think it's a gut decision. In the end, you have to feel comfortable with who you work with, because this is one of the most life-changing decisions you ever take, I guess. So you really, the chemistry has to be right. You have to feel comfortable. It's a very, even though in the whole overall time frame, it might not feel like such a long-term relationship, but it's a very intense process. So you end up spending quite a lot of time with your lawyer, and you have to just feel comfortable with who you work with. So I think obviously you need to choose somebody who is knowledgeable, or you feel who you trust. So that's really what matters. And ultimately, I think it's important that the person knows what he or she is doing, and it's not only theoretical knowledge but practical experience. And that's for me, that was really the overriding factor in the end.
Perfect. All right, thank you. All right, let's shift gears a little bit and talk a little bit about the regional center and the project side. So I guess first to start with, on the regional center decision, what was your research process like in terms of, evaluating potential regional centers and how they operate, and, how many different regional center companies did you talk to, and what were some of the key differences that you found, between EB5AN and some of the other regional centers that you spoke with?
EB5AN was actually one of the first regional centers I contacted, and afterwards I think I spoke to maybe 3 or 4 more. But what really stood out was, first of all, I mean, you are one of the founders, and I contacted you, and you almost immediately responded, and it was very easy to get on a call with you, and that wasn't the situation with the other regional centers. So even though I spoke to very knowledgeable, friendly, and experienced people, I never spoke to any of the principals or founders in any of the other regional centers. So I thought that was already a big difference. EB5AN seems very transparent in that perspective, and also obviously super responsive, very professional in your approach and the communication. I don't think it ever took longer than 3 to 4 hours before I got a response from you. So that was amazing, and I really that really appealed to me. And what I also liked about EB5AN was all this information you have out there on the internet, on all the educational informative emails you send, because they really cover and they touch on the right, covered the right questions for me, basically. So that was very helpful and insightful, and I thought that was, again, very transparent, and that appealed to me.
Great, thank you. We really appreciate that feedback. As you kind of focused on a particular project, what were some of the criteria, that you were really focused in on, in terms of picking an actual investment? Rural location, job creation, business model. What were some of the kind of main criteria that you were looking at, as you started to compare projects from EB5AN and some of the other regional centers as well?
I think the combination of EB5AN and Culta was very attractive to me because of the impeccable track record and the long-standing relationship you have with Culta. So I was definitely interested in investing in one of your Culta projects. And in terms of rural and I'm not from, I don't know whether it probably matters more for investors coming from countries where there's a backlog, but I was originally already hoping not to have to wait too long before my approval, and that's obviously what's happened now as well, but fast processing was definitely a factor for me as well.
Got it. Okay, perfect. What about kind of business model? Like, I'm sure you saw some of the other rural projects were hotels or resorts or energy projects. Twin Lakes is obviously single family home development. What about kind of business model informed your preference for Twin Lakes?
The senior living community business model was definitely also was very attractive to me because it's obviously a proven and very successful business model in the US. And I think that the Twin Lake project provides more, or offers more flexibility in terms of building as you go along, and maybe slowing down as well if there is like a slowdown in the economy. So I was basically interested in investing in this single family housing community.
Got it. Got it. Okay, perfect. And we talked a little bit about rural versus urban, so that's good. In terms of Coulter specifically, what about Coulter, made you more comfortable as a developer than some of the other developers of other projects, that were presented to you?
I think they've been in the business for over 25 years. I knew that, and they've never actually failed to repay any of their loans, and I thought it was very impressive. And what really appealed to me was this loan repayment guarantee. Obviously, there still has to be some risk involved in investing in an EB-5 investment, but I think this repayment guarantee really mitigates or minimizes the risk as much as that is at all possible. So that was definitely a huge factor for me as well.
Okay, great. And so, once you decided to work with EB5AN and join the Twin Lakes project, can you tell us a little bit about what your experience was like, kind of going through the onboarding process, filling out the subscription documents, getting the funds wired, getting the confirmation letter from the escrow bank? How was that process, and what was it like, and what could have been better?
I don't think anything could have been better. It was super smooth, and again, it just showed that even though obviously you're all separate, you all have long-term, long-standing relationships, and my attorneys, my attorney team actually were in touch with you guys during the wiring process. So it was all very swift and smooth, and no questions unanswered really. So that was yeah. It happened really fast in the end. I think. I mean, started working on my documents in July, and I think it was the end of July that I was invested.
And when did you get your 5260 approval for Twin Lakes?
That was, I think that they received my application on the 1st of August, and I received the approval on April 2nd. So it was exactly 8 months and a day. That was even much quicker than I would have hoped for. It was very quick, and super pleased with the outcome.
Okay, awesome. That's great.
Yeah, sorry. One thing I forgot to mention about the Twin Lakes project. Obviously, for me, especially coming from a country where there's no backlog, for me, I mean, the job creation factor was important. That everything, all the approvals, all the jobs have been created, all the approvals are there. And for me, one of the particular attraction of this particular Twin Lakes project was that my funds were actually deployed fairly soon after I signed up, because especially since the approval has now come so quickly.
Yep, got it. Perfect. All right, so looking back, now that you've gone through the whole process, application's been approved, what general advice would you have for other investors considering doing EB5, in a similar situation, as you and your family?
Yeah, I mean, put in very simple terms, don't wait too long, really, because I mean, obviously, you never know what's going to happen in the future, but I think it's an amazing opportunity, and if you're thinking about it, give it a try.
And in terms of the immigration attorney you worked with, ANITA and EB5AN, would you recommend ANITA and EB5AN to other?
Absolutely. I would obviously recommend both of you wholeheartedly, because it's worked out perfectly for me. Definitely recommend you guys. Yeah, it's been a pleasure working with you and also with my attorneys, and I'm very grateful to you all. So definitely, I would recommend you highly.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Daria, for taking a few minutes to share your experience. We really appreciate the trust you put in EB5AN and with Coulter. And
it's been a pleasure working with you. All right. Thank you very much.
Yep.